say there have been no reported incidents of food poisoning or fatalities as a result of contaminated tinned pilchards. The National Regulator for Compulsory Specifications, which deals specifically with fish products, says its focus is now on recalling affected tins from the informal sector. This after potentially contaminated tinned pilchards were recalled over the weekend. ENCA's Slindelo Masikane has been working this story and joins me now. So there's been various processes happening, Slindelo, around the National Consumer Commission, but also the National Regulator, which has, effectively called for this recall. But the number of brands that are affected has grown. It has doubled, as you will tell us.
Yeah, just in a few days, we now know that the National Regulator for Compulsory Specifications that deals specifically with fish products has been conducting an investigation after we broke the story over the weekend with regards to the West Point Processors recall. Originally, we were looking at around 6 brands which were affected. That number has since doubled. Let's just take a look at those affected brands. We're looking at Deep Catch, Mama's, OK House brand, Prime Ocean, Spar, Sunny, ShopRite Right brand, Cape Point, Checkers House brand, U brand, Saldana, as well as West Point. It's important for consumers to note that these are the 400-gram cans of pilchards in tomato sauce and chili sauce, which are being recalled, which wasn't stated earlier on, as well as the codes that consumers need to be aware of. So there is a misconception that we're looking at either all tinned products or essentially all the codes, essentially. But there are specific codes, so consumers need to be looking out for ZST2, ZSC2, ZST29, as well as ZSC29. Now, effectively, this recall, when a recall is in place, these particular products with their codes are supposed to be taken off the shelves completely, especially from wholesalers as well as retailers. But the issue now is looking specifically at the informal sector, your spaza shops, your townships, your rural areas, where this message essentially does not filter through. And this was of concern, in particular for the National Consumer Commission, saying that the manner in which this recall was conducted is problematic, because they're now essentially having to play catch-up in recalling these products, especially in far-flung areas. Let's take a listen to what they had to say to us.
As a commission, we are really concerned about the manner in which the whole recall notification started and how it is proceeding, and actually the manner in which it was communicated, because this, for now, for us, Ican fish is eaten by people mostly in the remote areas, wherein now we would find that some of the media houses that are actually have run the clip starting on Saturday, they might not have reached a number of consumers, especially in the far-flung areas of South Africa. So that is what is worrying us, because the recall strategy has to cover the length and the breadth of South Africa, and especially people in the remote areas.
So it's a number of batches there, Slindelo, that have been flagged of these tinned fish products, and you've also been finding out just how hazardous it is for a person to consume some of these batches. What have you found out?
Yeah, essentially, from the briefing this afternoon, what we do know from the regulator is that they're saying that at least 90% of the stock has been maintained at the distribution factories, but they are saying that around 5 to 10% of the stock is still in circulation, in particular in the informal sector. And so I did go out to speak to a food scientist around symptoms or hazardous effects of consumption of a contaminated tin product. And essentially what we know of the contamination of this particular product is that they couldn't pick it up immediately. What they're saying is that there was an issue with regards to the sourcing process. So when the dispenser for the sourcing was taking place, it happened to scratch the tin, and that can't be picked up immediately. That only will develop months in advance. And what they've noticed is that these cans tend to leak. So that is something that consumers can look out for. If you see that your tin is leaking, definitely don't consume it. But of course, all of these tins need to be taken back for a full refund for consumers. So let's just take a listen to what the food scientist at the University of South Africa had to say to me with regards to what consumers should be looking out for in terms of symptoms and how hazardous this could be.
It is dangerous to the health of consumers because it can cause what we call botulosis, which is a poisonous disease that can be fatal.
What are the symptoms? How deadly is it?
Yeah, as far as I know, Clostridium botulinus toxins can cause vomiting, and you have maybe difficulties in breathing, and I would suspect that it affects your nervous system or your reflex mechanism, so it can be fatal.
All right, Slindelo, thank you so much for coming through. Look out for more of Slindelo's reporting, including details on how she's been able to actually purchase some of these tinned fish products in Alexandra Township here in Gauteng.